It was the 4th of August, 2002, when 10-year-olds Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman were attending a barbecue at Holly's home in Red House Gardens, Soham. They were best friends who were both in the same class at St. Andrew's Primary School at Soham. Holly was a majorette who played the cornet, and Jessica played football. They both bonded over their shared love for the football team, Manchester United. At around 6:15 p.m., the girls left Holly's home to walk the short distance into the town to buy some sweets. Holly's parents had believed that the girls were playing in Holly's bedroom, but when they checked at around 8:30 p.m., they found that the girls weren't there. A major search and investigation were launched with more than 50 police officers working around the clock to try and find the girls. The last reported sighting of them had come from a member of the public who remembered seeing them at around 6:30 p.m. in Sand Street, which was close by to Holly's home. When they left their homes that afternoon, they were both wearing Manchester United t-shirts, dark trousers, and Nike trainers. By the following day, police would announce that they were becoming increasingly concerned for the well-being of Holly and Jessica. Since the reported sighting on Sand Street, there had been no more sightings, leading to growing fears within the community that something sinister had transpired. "Their disappearance is incredibly out of character. We are extremely concerned," said Insp Simon Causer, who was leading the search for the girls. When the girls left Holly's home, Jessica had taken her mobile phone with her, but she had failed to pick up, and by the following morning her phone was switched off. Police were able to determine that when it was last connected to a network, it was in the Cambridgeshire area at around 1:30 a.m., which made them worry that it could have been dropped or even deliberately dumped. Concerns were even raised that the girls could have fallen into a ditch somewhere and seriously injured themselves. A couple of days after the disappearance, police would release CCTV footage of Jessica and Holly, which had been captured shortly before they vanished. One picture, which was taken at 6:13 p.m., shows the girls in a sports center car park. It was believed that they had purchased sweets from the vending machine at the sports center. The CCTV footage would be released on a news segment that included an interview with Ian Huntley, the senior caretaker at the local secondary school. He revealed that after leaving the sports center, the girls had stopped to chat with him. Huntley's girlfriend, 25-year-old Maxine Carr, was a teaching assistant at the girls' school and was close with both of them. He explained that he had been washing his dog outside of his home when the girls stopped and spoke with him. Huntley said that at the time, Carr was having a bath in the house, so the exchange between himself and the girls was very brief. "I think if I had been talking to them, I would have been talking to them for an hour," said Carr. She would show the media a card that Holly had given to her after the end of the school term, which read, "See you in the future, Miss Carr. Don't leave us, don't go far." After the momentary conversation outside, Huntley said that Holly and Jessica continued on their way, and he continued washing his dog. He struggled to contain his emotion as he stated, "They haven't run away. They didn't have a care in the world. The world would soon come to discover that just like Huntley had stated, the girls hadn't run away." Something much more sinister had taken place, and Huntley knew exactly what. In the early morning hours of the 17th of August, Huntley and Carr were both arrested on suspicion of murder. While it hadn't yet been publicly revealed, police had recovered several items from the grounds of the school where Huntley had worked, including the burnt remains of Holly and Jessica's Manchester United t-shirts. Later that same day, a man out walking with friends came across the charred remains of two bodies along a dirt track on the fringes of RAF Lakenheath, a large U.S. Air Force base located just north of Mildenhall. The bodies would be positively identified as Holly and Jessica. The grim discovery extinguished the hope that Soham had clung on to for 13 emotionally draining days, and the community were now forced to concede what they had refused to accept, that Holly and Jessica were never going to come home. Huntley and Carr would deny any involvement in the disappearance and murder of Holly and Jessica. However, an investigation would uncover that when the girls were walking to buy sweets, they walked past Huntley's home. When Huntley saw the girls, he invited them into his home, claiming that Carr was inside. Once inside, Huntley murdered both of the girls, and Carr would provide him with a phony alibi, claiming that she was home with him that afternoon when in actuality she was in Grimsby. Huntley would be ordered to stand trial on murder charges. During the trial, Huntley claimed that the girls went into his home because Holly had a nosebleed. He insisted that Holly had drowned when he accidentally knocked her into his bath, and then he claimed he subsequently smothered Jessica to stop her from screaming. Dr. Nathaniel Carey, a home office pathologist, however, completely rejected Huntley's version of events, referring to it as wholly implausible. He said that it would be unlikely at the least that Holly could have drowned in Huntley's bathtub as the result of a fall. Huntley would admit to dumping Holly and Jessica's bodies in the area where they were found, cutting off their clothing and then setting fire to their bodies in a bid to conceal his tracks. Due to the bodies being set alight, it could not be determined how exactly Holly and Jessica had lost their lives, nor could it be determined if they had been sexually assaulted or not. Prosecutors would claim during the trial that Huntley had been sexually motivated and pointed to the fact that he laundered his bedclothes after the murders as evidence of such. Moreover, he had previous charges relating to indecent assaults on underage girls. Ian Huntley would be found guilty of the two murders and would be sentenced to 40 years in prison and will not be eligible for parole until 2042. In prison, he has been targeted numerous times by other inmates and has made several suicide attempts. Maxine Carr would be found guilty of conspiracy with Huntley to pervert the course of justice and was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. She was released with a new identity in 2004.